RPW here with another event guide. Today we are going to be working on part 2 of the Team Gauntlet event. If you haven't seen my first one, make sure you go check that out. It will be in the description below. Okay, so let's kick this video off by going in and seeing how our team has done this morning. So if I click on the event island, it's going to open up the event for me. So let's go ahead and click on that. And we'll let it sit and load up. It's a little slow. Okay, so when we jump in here, the first thing you're going to notice is the battle area. This is going to be the page in which you can see all the islands and how far you've progressed. Now, if you'll notice, there's some islands that have actually started falling on HP that are old islands. This is not something I suggest. I try to encourage my team to continue unlocking islands because unlocking new islands is going to help you gain more points. And to hit the same island as everybody else is going to allow you to take that island down faster and get your team more points. So this is something that everybody needs to address to their team and explain to them is a very important thing, but you can only do so much, right? Okay, so moving forward, I want to also point out that if you click on an island, that is how you're going to start your attack, because these are computerized bases in which you will be attacking on these islands specifically. Not on the PvP, but on the chain islands. Now, when you go and click, you can choose an attack like here, for example. A basic attack is 152, super is 608, and a mega is over 4,500. Now, if you'll notice, if you do a basic attack 5 times, then you're actually going to get closer to about 750 points versus doing a super attack, which is only going to give you 608. And as for the mega attack, yes, if you do this mega attack, it's going to cost you 100 energies, and it's going to cost you 20 inner fires, and it's going to give you 4,560 total. But the amount of points you can get if you did all of that within your basic attacks is going to be like 5,800 points. So it is a big difference, but again, if you are, down on time, or you're down on healing potions and so forth as in resources, then this is a great option for you. But just remember that it does end up costing you points in the end. So if you're really trying your hardest to get to a certain point level, you may want to do the basic attacks, although those can be very tiring. Very, very tiring. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. So let's go ahead and talk about the energy and inner fires and how you can find them. On the top left is your energy, and on the right is going to be your inner fires. Now, right now I have 7 energies, which allows me to do 1 attack, basic attack, on any of the islands I choose. Now, other teams are also working on these islands. If you'll see, there are crests throughout. This is where the other teams are currently at. You can actually see the percentage they are. Let me go ahead and show you a zoomed in so you can actually see where these crests are at on the island. So down here, you're going to see where we just clicked. There are the shields of other teams. Now this shows you the progression in which they are making, and the progression on these chain islands is a big part of the point system you are going to make in order to get your team's points. Now, Drunk Immortals right now is the top team on our league, and they're actually further along than we are. So if I go in and I click team ranking, you'll see that they are over us by about 28,000 points. So our team really needs to be pushing to unlock that next island and continue to unlock the PvP island as quickly as possible. So far, we have beat the PvP island within 2 to 10 minutes every round. Hopefully we can keep pushing that through, and the best way to do that, guys, is save your resources. A lot of times you're going to find that people are just going to sit there and blow out an island over and over, but the problem is if they're the only one attacking that island, then it's going to take forever to get where they want to. So there really should be some kind of team effort in deciding what islands you should be attacking and stick with that. But it's very challenging to get other team members, especially when they're lower level or new to the game, to understand this. So make sure you reach out to your teammates and let them know what your goal is. Now, another thing is to look at the point achievements, which I scrolled through, and your team achievements. I push my team members to at least reach the goal that would get us 300 sigils as a team, which in this case is going to be 12,000 points. Trust me, this is very possible. If you watched one of my last videos where I did a PvP tutorial, I actually showed you where getting to that point system is actually highly possible as long as you do your attacks. You can actually reach that amount by just doing your basic attacks every time they fill up. So definitely help your team out and try to get to that 12,000 point marker at minimum. Okay, so now we've kind of gone over how you do your attack and how many inner fires are and where you can find those. Now in the space at the top where it says PvP in less than 2.5 hours, this is when you're going to have your player versus player island pop up, where you'll actually be competing with another team for VP points. Now this particular island is very important. When your team's PvP begins, you'll actually get a notification if you've signed up for them that an enemy's team has been spotted in your waters. Jump in there and do those attacks and focus on that island. Don't be working with these other ones otherwise. Help your team take that island down as quickly as possible, because the quicker you get that island down, the more points it's going to be worth for you. And it's the same as you go through these chain islands. If it takes you an hour or a day in order to clear an island, then, well, it's not going to be worth much. So if you have 15 people working on 5 different islands, then the likeliness of finishing out an island is not going to be very easy. So it's very important that you guys work together as a team. Now, I didn't really get to go over points with everybody very much earlier, so let's go ahead and go into the prizes and ranks. Now, of course, your first thing is going to be your team ranking. This particular video clip is from last night, right after the first PvP, so we're actually in second place at this point, but I kind of want to use this as an example. If you notice, there is these little shields on here with little plus signs or negative signs. The one we're on gives you +8. These are going to be team rating points. So if you fail to help your team, your rating points are actually going to be either decreased or stay the same. And if you work really hard to help your team, you can actually increase the amount of points your rating is on your team. So just like winning a war, it's going to help you grow in the leagues. So now let's kind of go over also really quickly the importance of sticking with a particular island. If you guys always stick with the island that is just unlocked and you make that your team rule and get everybody on board and to understand that that is very important, then you're going to have a lot better progression within your team. Now, there are going to be those few that are so small that they're going to have to take things like Warrior Isle or the other islands because they can't take out, let's say, a 45 because they're maybe a level 20. It just depends on your team. Now, larger teams that have large players and that are willing to spend some money and really work hard at this game are going to take high points. If you're on a team that's a little more laid back, a little more lax, then you might find something otherwise. Now, this race is truly a race. You've got to race through these islands against these other teams in order to get the most amount of VP points. And yes, whatever points you make is going to go into the total, but realistically, the VP points is where it's important. The VP points when you clear an island is what's going to give you a certain amount of points, or when you beat a PvP. And like I said, if you finish this quickly, then you are actually going to get bonus points for the time frame in which you have completed it. Now, the only other thing you guys really need to know outside of what we've discussed in the last 2 days is the energy refill pricing rate. So yes, of course, your energy is going to refill itself every 15 minutes. It'll give you 1. But let's say you want to add energy. On that top left-hand corner there's going to be an X. If you click that, you're going to be able to actually add energy to it by using your energy packs. Now, when you first do this, let's say you want to do 100 energies, it's going to cost you a total of 10. And I forgot to record this part, so I'm just going to walk you through it and talk about it. But the next time around, it's actually going to cost you 20 energy packs. Now, on things like fight pits, this is actually going to reset every round, where in things like this event, it's actually going to reset every 24 hours. So be sure to save those resources and use them wisely against the PvP, because you're going to run out. And otherwise, you're going to be spending larger amounts of stuff just to keep your island going. Well, that's all for today's video. I plan on putting up another video here shortly which will be about the big changes coming to the game. So be sure you check that out. If you have any questions, comment on the video below. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate everybody's support. And subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell for notifications. Happy hunting!